Hi everyone, Medina here, and I'm just making a very quick impromptu video to talk about, for what it's worth, what I think is happening at the moment. And like in everything that anyone ever says, everything is going through your own discernment filter. And if things resonate with you, that's fantastic. And if they don't, just discard them. So, whatever really aligns for you as truth is the important thing at this time. But I thought I'd make a video on this because there's so much fear out there at the moment, and things are seeming to ramp up and amp up at the moment. So I thought it's really helpful to make a video of what I think is globally happening at the minute. So my feeling is that we are seeing something like a theatrical show happening before our eyes. My instinctive, intuitive feeling is that the alliance, whatever you want to call that, the white hats, are actually in control of governments around the world, sort of like shadow or hidden governments who are actually in charge, and that the really nefarious forces have been largely taken out. There are still some elements of that obviously in the world, but that has largely been taken out. And now what is happening is there is a systematic unfolding of things happening whereby the truth of what was going to be occurring with the Agenda 2030, with the true globalist totalitarian agenda that was wanting to be rolled out, the white hats or the alliance are allowing things to be shown that were part of that agenda, so that when the arrests happen and the disclosure happens, then there won't be rioting or people reacting really badly, because they've already seen this nefarious agenda in front before their own eyes. They've seen these things happening, and so that they aren't going to respond in a negative way to that, because they're going to understand or understand the need for justice in response to these huge nefarious agendas. So things that have led me to come to this conclusion are that in Australia, for example, there are all these examples of politicians or public speaking officials saying things that are clearly giveaways for this agenda. For example, there was one comment about the things in the arm being there to euthanize you. Now, that for some may be considered a slip up, but to me it was quite pointed and obvious, and I don't think that someone speaking publicly would have made that mistake. So, for example, that person was told to say that to wake people up. Then there were other things, like the health minister just said that not one person in Australia has passed from the COVID virus. I have to be really careful at the moment in terms of censorship, because that's really amping up as well, and heaps of channels are going down at the minute. And again, that's another indication that the deep state are very desperate, because so many truth speakers are going down even more than usual at the minute. So that was another slip up that was beyond an accident. It was clearly, again, a pointed way to get people who are not aware of what this agenda is to see the agenda. It's just too obvious. Then there are many other examples as well like this. There was another official that talked about the New World ORDER that was playing out. There's just so many examples of this. To me, that is speeches they've been told to say to get people to see what's really going on. And of course, this will mean, therefore, that when the arrests happen and the justice has to come into play for all these crimes against humanity, then people will understand why this had to happen. And I also think, and it's very tragic and sad, but a lot of the people that are having to have the in the arm and they're getting adverse reactions or there are deaths, again, this is another indication of this deep state nefarious agenda that was in the works and would have been way more terrible if the whole thing had actually come to pass, which it hasn't, because now the White Hats and the Alliance are in control. But this again indicates the depths of darkness that the globalists are wanting to create in the world. So that sort of makes sense. Even though it's a really horrible thing, it makes sense why they have had to unfortunately have that collateral damage of people that have had these reactions, because people have to actually see what the real agenda was behind everything. And it is a spiritual war. And of course, in any sort of war, this is the greatest war humanity's ever faced, in the war between good and evil. This obviously is going to have collateral damage because it is such a huge thing. So to me, this all makes sense. Maybe it doesn't make sense to anyone else, but it makes sense to me. This is what I'm seeing at the moment. I hope that I'm right. Obviously, everyone has their own way of discerning truth and the way that they see things. But my other feeling on this is that this will only roll out for a few more weeks, maybe 4 weeks, maybe 6 weeks, something like this, not for too much longer. And then there will be exposure of what's really happening, and then there will be, arrests and things like that. So to me, this is the thing that is making sense in terms of when I put it all together. It's sort of like a puzzle, and you're putting all the pieces of the puzzle together and trying to see the whole picture. And that's what I'm seeing. And, there are other people seeing the same thing. And I also have a feeling of excitement that the light is winning and that we are making incredible headway, even though the dark, who are desperate, are amping up the fear porn. And there's obviously the the nefarious agendas against the anti people, and then there's the different potential things that they might try to do at the last minute on their way out. But they are definitely going down, and I feel that, because I feel so much more light coming through, and the energy rising, the frequency rising, and it's being reflected in my own life on a personal level through some incredible gifts and beautiful things that are happening to me. So that is also an indication of the frequency rising in my own life. And many people, light workers, are also reporting feeling this energy rising and sort of the dark dissipating. And of course, it takes longer to see in the 3D reality because this is the last realm of where we see the results. It sort of happens in all the other causal realms first, and then in this realm we see it last unfolding. So I hope that gives somebody out there hope and positivity, because it's definitely not a time to lose hope. It's definitely a time also to stand up and speak your truth, and to not allow these nefarious agendas to continue anymore, and do everything that we can to unite with one another, stop any division over trivial things, and to be able to work together to create this shift to happen as quickly and in an accelerated a way as possible. The more people become aware of the truth of what the globalist agenda was, which was complete depopulation of the planet, and the fact that the CV was part of all that, to be able to do that to people, then the quicker people realize that and unite, the quicker we can get through this time period and get to the good part. And I don't think the good part's too far away, and I'm feeling that. So hope that that is of solace to somebody out there, and sending love and light, and hope that you're able to do lots of beautiful things for yourself today. Thank you. Bye.